feel now. That's all the sound exactly what it is. There's a movement, you're the feeling from side to side. Put yourself down in your car and take a ride. While you're moving right steady, baby. That's all the sound exactly what it is. It's a funky and I feel it. It's from left to right. What it is I might be doing. It's something that's all right.
Happy day, everybody. Playing a little music, tribute to Aretha Franklin. Who don't like Aretha Franklin? No, I do. That's all it sounds exactly right. It's a funky and low down feeling. We have two wonderful ladies on today, Lisa Diggs and Sharon Jones. Again, it's just a tribute to Aretha Franklin. I don't own the rights to none of this music, and I don't claim to. All right. Hey, everybody. Happy Saturday. Happy day. Happy day. This is Positively D discussion. You have to remember that HIV still exists. You have to get tested. You must use and have to use protection. If you have contracted HIV, you can get on medication and you can live a better, healthier life. Today, I have on two wonderful ladies, Alicia Diggs and Sharon Jones. Both are authors, activists, advocates. They both are founders of nonprofits. I'm going to bring both of them on, and we're going to talk to them today and talk about their journey and their books and what probed them to write their books. Hi.
Hey. How are you?
Good.
Good.
Hey, Sharon. Hi.
Hi, everybody.
Okay, ladies. Let's get started. Okay, I'm gonna read a little bit of Alicia, Miss Diggs. She's from North Carolina, everybody. She has a bachelor's degree. Oh, you reside in North Carolina. She has a bachelor's degree in social work and master's degree in public health, and currently working on her PhD. Okay, in public health. Ms. Diggs became an HIV activist, an educator, and a speaker in 2004. I want to go down here because she wrote a book called Standing on My Healing, From Tainted to Chosen. And the book tells the story of her life from the age of 3 until 2015, when her big brother and her best friend went home to be with the Lord. This is just a portion of her story of love, rejection, sexual violation, homelessness, suicide attempts, a suicide attempts, depression, domestic violence, and survival. That's all. That's a lot, all in one, Alicia. That's a lot, all in one. She also is the CEO and co-founder of I Will Live.
Okay.
Sharon Jones
Yeah.
is a freelance writer, an advocate, HIV subject matter expert, and she is based in Atlanta. She's the founder of I Know Awareness LLC, where she's partnered with individuals and organizations that provide HIV prevention, intervention, and support services. You can find her at I Know Awareness LLC, a very popular Facebook group, and visit her website at www.iknowawareness.com for services, bookings, and notifications for her book release. Sharon wrote a book also, and her book is A Piece of Me with HIV. I want to start. I'm gonna start with Sharon, and I want to ask. I'm gonna ask both of you guys the same questions though. So, Sharon, what encouraged you
Mhm.
to write the book?
Well, I felt like it was time for me to share more about me, my personal experiences, and putting it in a book just seemed fitting for me.
Yeah. And how about you, Alicia?
Well, my book started as just telling my story with my previous marriage, but after taking a long time to get through that book, I realized it would be my autobiography. And just really wanted to tell my story and the things that I triumphed through, hoping and believing that it would bless somebody else so that they wouldn't go that same path that I did. But I
Mhm.
really just wanted to get a lot of heaviness off of me and get my freedom as a result of sharing my stories.
Yeah. Did either one of you face any? I call it challenges because I know I hear many people speak about when they're writing. Sometimes they have to step back because they get in their feelings. Did either one of you face any of those challenges while writing the book?
Mhm.
Yes, I'll go first, Sharon. I was waiting for you. But absolutely, it took me 10 years to write my book. It
Oh,
literally took me 10 years to write my book, and my book is less than 200 pages. But starting, when I started, I was all right. But then when I got to some parts that I had to relive that I wasn't healed from, I couldn't get through it and I closed
mm,
the book. And when I opened it up again, God said, start from the beginning, which I did not understand for a little bit. And I was like, start from the beginning. And when I finally got it, start from the beginning of your life. So even though I started from the age of 3, it took me 10 years to get all the way through that. And it was hard because of dealing with the emotions and having to get, set free and delivered from some of those bondages that I went through in my personal life. Yeah.
Mhm.
okay.
Yes,
And
and
what
I
about you?
yeah, I did want to mention how I did notice Alicia did mention that in the introduction of her book, how she
Mm,
started in 2008 and stopped and started back in 2010. And for myself, yes, I had started writing personal experiences during the time of writing about housing issues. So, I spent a lot of time writing on housing issues, Medicare, Medicaid, and a lot of different issues I would spend time writing. But in the midst of writing on those topics, I would write um, personal experiences as well. So I started to have a collection of personal experiences, but I wasn't sure when or how I would share them. And when I
yeah.
learned about the process of publishing a book, that just really accelerated me to, go forward with publishing it.
Okay. Another question I have is, as far as writing a book, and do you feel that writing expresses more than actually talking? Did you find it hard to how can I explain this? Did you find it hard to even write the book? I know, Alicia, you said it took you 10 years. Um, Sharon, did you find it hard to even start writing?
For
And
me,
when did you think about start writing the book?
mhm. For me, it was easier. It's much easier for me to write, because I can, revisit it, edit it, you know, go deeper into explaining something that I started with. And so for me, writing is much easier. Alicia probably know this because we spend a lot of time on conference calls, a lot of time together on conference
Yeah.
calls. And I'm not big on speaking, but if I
Yeah.
have information that needs to be shared, I'll share that information. But I do like to write, um, and I definitely love expressing myself with words. And it did start at an early age for me. Um, I wrote poems. I find it fun to write songs.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not easy for everybody to write.
Mm-mm.
It's not. Well, I'm not. No, it's not easy for everybody to express themselves. It's easy for them to write because they're able to express themselves in the way that they want when they're writing. A lot of times the words jump off the page when you're writing, and I know me reading books. Period. I can see myself within the story while
Mm-hmm.
I'm reading. Um, I want to ask Sharon, um, your book cover, this is beautiful.
Yeah.
This book cover is really beautiful. Um,
Thank you. And I
what?
definitely have to thank
um,
the
yeah.
photographer Leo Armstrong. He captured that photo. And if you open the book, you know, it extends my arm right here.
I saw that. Yeah, I saw that.
Oh,
It's
okay.
it's a really it's a really beautiful cover.
Yeah.
Thank
Um,
you.
it stands out a lot, and it's real simple too. It's
Mm-hmm.
very simple.
Yeah.
It catches someone's eye when they see it.
Mm-hmm.
The way it's the text is and everything. There's
Yeah.
not too
Thank
much
you.
on the cover. I want to
Yeah.
ask you something that I read here on chapter 3, the premature diagnosis, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people didn't know this about you. Sharon did not have sex until she was 18 years old.
Hmm.
18. I didn't even. And if you told me, I don't remember. But she didn't have sex until she was 18. And explain a little bit of that part of your life, Sharon, because
Hmm.
you have a lot of girls and teenagers, that
Hmm.
um, peer pressure, and their friends, everybody's having sex, so they tend to think that that's what they're supposed to do. So, talk to me a
Yes.
little bit about that. The reason, was it hard for you to wait until you were 18?
Yeah. Well, like those experiences you just explained, um, with teenagers engaging in sex early, I was exposed to that. Most of my friends were engaging in sex. A lot of them did become pregnant. A lot of them did have abortions. A lot of them had children. A lot of them were disrespected by the men that they had sex with and people in the neighborhood. So when I seen that and I seen the way, the women was treated, I didn't want to be treated that way. So it wasn't hard for me to keep my virginity. Yeah.
You said it wasn't hard because you didn't want to be treated that
Yeah.
way.
Yes. And I really wasn't peer pressured. Um, I have many siblings on my father's side of the family, and they were aware that I was a virgin, and they treated me as a trophy, and whenever we was around guys and they would look at me a little too hard, they would say, "Oh no, my sister is a virgin," so
Oh, yeah.
yeah. Yes. And even when I did get into my first serious relationship, he knew I was a virgin and he didn't pressure me at all to have sex.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
And when
good though,
someone
because
did
most
ask
boys
me,
try to pressure you, so that's good. That's good. You
yeah,
respect
and
it.
when I was approached, I did say no. I was just trained. It's like I was trained to just say no,
Mhm.
no, and that was
Yeah,
it.
Good.
thank you. Alicia,
Mhm.
talk to me a little bit about your book on your let's your suicide attempts,
Oh gosh. Let me
and
see.
what did that stem from?
Well, when I was 12, the first time that I felt like
And
I just,
I'm sorry, let me just say, you guys don't have to say too much because we don't want everybody to know what's in the
oh
book, but
yeah, they
just
just get
little
a
skits, you know,
little,
just little skits, make
yeah,
them want to go ahead and pick it
right.
out.
So when I was 12, it stemmed from my mom being in an abusive relationship. Her second marriage, it was very abusive. And I just felt like being the oldest girl that all the things she was going through, maybe if I wasn't there, then it would stop. Maybe
Oh,
she would receive some love. I just felt like if I'm gone. But then when I called myself doing it, I took an antibiotic and didn't know. And I'm just like, God, please, just if I wake up, I'll never do it again. And I
oh,
woke up. But seriously, when I was as an adult, that just stemmed from depression, just total depression, rejection. And I wasn't positive at all then. I was just depressed. I was walked over, just hurting. I didn't know who I was. I didn't, I just didn't know what love was. I didn't know how to feel love because I was always hurting, because people always hurt me, always wanted to be nice to me in the beginning and then walk all over me. So it was just hurt. Just, I'm tired of hurting. I'm tired of not feeling love. I'm not tired of being accepted. Hmm.
do you think that that came from watching your mom in abusive relationship, and it caused a part of depression in you, and maybe some little bit of low self esteem?
Oh, it
And
stemmed, yes. I mean, it
yeah,
started at the age of 3. So it started, of course, just giving a smidget, and I didn't put everything out there, but just being, I was basically forced to watch abuse. I was forced and I was made to sit there and watch it. And I was also always called black and ugly by another person. And though my mother and other people around me said I was beautiful and showed me love, unfortunately, that one person that said those negative things to me, it carried on throughout my life and throughout my adulthood. And it took me some time to really come into the beautiful queen that I know I am now.
yes, you are.
Yes.
Yes, you are. Um, Sharon, talk to me about a few days after your 23rd.
um, well, it's something else on my mind too that to add to your previous question, another reason why I was able to abstain from sex is because I was determined to graduate high school and just be independent because as a youth, I did have to depend on many people because I lost my mom at the age of 12. She passed away from kidney failure. So I just had that drive to succeed and be able to take care of
Yes.
myself, and which I did graduate high school and went into independent living. And amidst that independent living, I started to get into relationships. Most of them were pretty short for many different reasons. And at the age of 23, that's when I had my second HIV test and I received the positive results.
Can we hear her?
Yeah,
Okay.
I can hear her.
Yeah.
So you
Hear
received your positive result at what age? I'm sorry, you cut off.
me?
Oh no.
Yep, she cut off. I didn't do it.
Yeah.
I didn't do
She'll be back, but I
it.
wanted to tell you that the link you shared for people to watch this live, I can't share it because you only have it as your personal friends. It's not public. So
Oh
you have
my
to add
goodness.
your privacy.
I'll fix that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll fix that. Let me see if she came back on. Yeah, there she goes. I'll fix that.
Okay. Gotta love technology.
Yes, you
Sorry.
do. Okay,
Can you
go
hear
ahead,
me okay?
All right, you're
Sorry about that. Can
okay.
you hear me okay?
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
Okay,
we
well, yeah.
can.
I was diagnosed in 2001, the same year as Alicia Diggs.
Really?
Yes.
Hmm. Yeah. I'm getting through the book. I'm getting through it.
Hmm.
Yay.
Yeah.
2001. I want to read something from this here. Um, just a short paragraph, Sharon, if you don't mind. A few days before my 23rd birthday in May of 2001, I was diagnosed with HIV. Immediately after receiving my diagnosis, I felt like I let my 3-year-old son. I felt like I let my 3-year-old son, my cousins, my family pride, and myself down, especially since I had a tight grip on my sexual health up until age 18. My self esteem immediately plummeted, mainly because I viewed my main existence as a sexual object for men. I thought I was no longer desirable as a wife and that I would have to settle as a one night stand or being an occasional fling.
No.
Um, I'm such a crybaby. I cried when I read that.
So,
Um,
Yeah, I feel my cheeks
sometimes when
like
you read things, yeah.
covering.
Sometimes when you read things, it makes you think. Um, I'm sure that was really hard for you.
Yes, it
Yeah.
was. And, going to the beginning of that with my son at that age and me not having much education, I thought that my son would be motherless like me. And
Mm, yeah.
and the feelings that I had about, the embarrassment that I thought I would have on my family was just a heavy weight on me.
Mm,
But
mm,
now I'm proud, that I can no longer live in those feelings. You know, I see, much worth in me more than just a object of sex.
mm, mm.
So just so I'm just so proud of myself, and just, overcoming all of those feelings that I
Yeah.
had at that time of my diagnosis.
Awesome.
Thank you, Sharon.
That's awesome.
Okay, Alicia. Sexual violence. Just a piece. Just a piece in the
Just
book.
peace.
Um, and Sharon, maybe you could read a paragraph from Alicia's book too that really struck out to you, that stuck out to you too.
Yes, I have some tabs here. So
Awesome.
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm ready when y'all are.
yeah, go ahead.
go ahead.
Okay. Okay. And this is from Reflections 26. I mean, 25, sorry. Um, as a parent, you have to make the decision on when it is time to talk with your children about sexual education or any serious subject for that matter. As it pertained to me telling my children about my diagnosis, there was never a good time. I just had to do it. The best way for me before I told them was to allow them to watch videos on the basics of HIV/AIDS. Then we would do role plays about being pressured into sex. I allowed them to ask as many questions that they wanted, and if I did not have the answer immediately, then I would look it up for them. I really wanted my children to understand the importance of protecting themselves and how to protect themselves. I just wanted to protect my children, and I hate this happening and was subjecting them to more hurt. And then Alicia talks about that day that she told them. It was a Saturday afternoon, and I decided to sit my children down to tell them. As soon as I had them sit down, my daughter said, "Mommy, I'm scared. Are you going to tell us bad news? Are you sick?" My eyes started to water, so I took a deep breath and hold back the tears. Then I said, "Well, I have HIV." My son turned red. His eyes poured with tears, and my daughter, through her tears, shouted, "How? When? I know how, but who did it? You do not have a boyfriend. You work all the time and you go to school." I proceeded to tell them where I contracted it. My babies broke down with tears and anger. It was harder telling them and seeing them cry than it was getting the diagnosis. I was so terrified after telling them, but instead of rejection, I thought they would have towards me. They both hugged me and reassured me it would be all right. I did not know how long we cried together, but I do know that the three of us became closer. I told them I was healthy, and despite the diagnosis, I would live a long time. As a parent, I had to be strong for my children because they were dependent on me to care for them and to live.
Thank you.
Wow.
You're welcome. Thank you, Alicia
You're
and
welcome.
Yeah,
Dee.
I think for anybody that is diagnosed, when you read something like that, it hits close to
Oh yeah.
home. And that's why I read that paragraph in your book, and then you just did the same thing, but that just shows you that something like that hits close to home for those that are diagnosed, because I didn't know you were going to read that part of the book. Um, Talk a little bit about that. You too, Alicia. Talk a little bit about that.
About it hitting close to home.
Yeah,
Um,
and having to tell your children,
uh,
and how old were they when you had to disclose your status?
so my daughter was 13, I think. Let me see, which would have made my son like 10.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, because I got diagnosed in '01. He was gone in '02, '03. It was about '04. So yeah, my daughter would have been 14 and my son would have been 11. About 30, 14 years. They're 3 years apart, like me and my brother.
Yeah.
um, it was hard and I was scared because I did tell other people close to me, and my
Mm.
fear was somebody was going to tell my children and they were going to find out from somebody else, either one from, more than likely, from overhearing conversations. Because children, they listen to everything. And in my head, adults will be talking. Other children will hear who know my children. They will tease my children, tell them, and then they'll be upset with me because they didn't hear it from me. And then also, I was starting to get requests to tell my story. While women contracting it from their husbands is not new, it was pretty new during that time. So, as far as
Yeah.
being out in the public and, things like that. So, I was getting requests, and I'm like, I have to talk to my children first. But telling them, it was scary because I was like, they're not going to love me. They're not going to want me. They're not going to want me to cook. They're not going to want me to hug them. I'm just going to be isolated because that's what I thought. And it was the total opposite of everything that I thought. Yeah.
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 Yeah. That's tough.
It was
Um,
tough.
just
Mm-hmm.
to say something to the viewers and people that will watch.
Mm-hmm.
You have to understand that it doesn't matter what you look like, who you are, how old you are, your race, your age. Um, you can be diagnosed with
Right.
HIV. Whether you're married, in a committed long-term relationship,
Yeah.
um, having two, three, four partners, and not having sex until after you turn 18. You have to be aware that HIV is out there, and I always repeat that it still exists. We have to remember this. Get tested with your partners, everybody. It's very important that you do that. These ladies do what they do because they want others to know that it exists. And they're just like any other advocate or activist. They don't want to see other people contracting HIV. Um,
Mhm.
ladies, Sharon, you can start off by telling people where they can find your book,
Mhm.
and then Alicia, you can do the same.
My book is available on Amazon, Kindle, and for autographed copies, you can order through my website, iknowareness.com.
And can you spell that for everybody too, so they'll know?
Yes, I know awareness is one word, IKNOWAWARNESS, and my name is spelled SHYRONN Jones.
Okay, and Alicia.
Um, you can find my book at Amazon.com. You can either look up my name or type in Standing on My Healing and it will bring the rest up. There's also a Kindle version. I don't have a website, but I do have I call it a foundation. So it's on Facebook. It's called I Will Live. And you'll see a beautiful picture of myself in my favorite scripture, Isaiah 53 and 5. But there, you can click on a link there to get my book. And if you are my Facebook friend, you can inbox me and I can also send you a autographed copy.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Well,
Okay, one I don't want to spoil that part, Sharon, so we won't do that. What yeah, I don't want to do that. What what made you want to put this
Mm-hmm.
what was it book? And this is five language chapter 5, languages art. Explain what made you want to put this
Mm-hmm.
in the book, and then the language, the 10 examples of people first language in writing this book. What made you want to share that?
Yes. Well, I strategically put that chapter after the chapter, Who Can It Be? And even right before that, the premature diagnosis, because the order of the conversation, that I will hope people will have, after you learn about someone's diagnosis, the next step is to have effective communication. And and with me, after writing in my book of my diagnosis and in who I possibly contracted HIV from, I wanted the reader then to learn some etiquette on communicating about how to address a person after you learn that they're diagnosed. And usually the conversation usually go that way of who is it, how did you contract it, who did you contract it from. But I wanted people to see some more examples of how to respond. That's why I included the examples in the book.
mm-hmm.
You still there, Dee?
She isn't. I don't know what happened. I'm going to the live.
Oh,
Okay,
There she is.
okay.
on chapter 5, it says languages art, and she put in here, what human immunodeficiency virus, what it means. These are definitions. She has definitions in here, and I thought that was clever to
Thank
put that
you.
in there. Um, so she has 10 different
Okay.
definitions you guys can see in here, and then there's 10 examples of people's first language. And explaining people's first language is you can go ahead and explain people's first language, Sharon, and
Yes.
then I'll talk to Alicia about some other parts in her book.
Okay. Well, people first language means putting the person before their diagnosis, of any medical condition. And, especially with an HIV diagnosis, is a practice that is recommended. So addressing the person, you know, as a just addressing the person, by putting the person first, never leading with saying HIV, leading with addressing that person as a person. So an example would be a person living with HIV versus a HIV infected person. You want to always lead with the person.
Okay, thank you. Now, Alicia,
Yes.
uh, you want to share just a little bit of a portion of your story of love,
A story of love.
or
For
maybe a little bit of rejection or survival, uh,
oh
something in
God.
the book
Let me
that
see
will
here.
pique
Stop it.
the listeners, the viewers' interest.
Yeah. Um, let me see here. I'm gonna be honest with you. The very first part of my book is the best part to me. Cause it is about me and my big brother. Like that was
Yeah,
love right there. That oh my goodness, he taught me how to unconditionally love people because he let me do what I wanted to him. Now, this is going to be funny, and I'm not a cruel person. This is my disclaimer. I am such a nice, loving person. I don't do anything to hurt anybody. But I remember my big brother always taking me everywhere he went almost. And he had a yellow bike, and I remember him riding on his 10 speed. I was little, so I had to be like right before I turned 3, or maybe I was 3, I don't know. But my brother was riding, and I pushed him in the sticky bushes while he was riding his bike. And people just like, oh my gosh, that was mean. It's not that. My big brother was amazing, and he would let me do anything to him, and he wouldn't get mad at me. He wouldn't push me
yeah,
away. We wrestled like, two crazy people. It was just fun. And that was love for me. He always accepted me as I was. I didn't feel rejected or accepted. I just felt normal. And I really don't know another word to use besides normal, but there was no hurt, there was no pain, there was no anger or sadness. It was just happiness all the time. And
yeah.
that's the
Just the closeness between two siblings.
right. And it was unity, and we never ever fought. My brother passed 3 years ago, so I was 43. And from that age, from a child all the way through, we never fought. We never argued. And people just like, are you kidding me? That was the love that I experienced. And I think coming up, I tried to find love and acceptance from other people, and it just didn't work out. And one day, a couple years ago, I was at work, and I was just looking out the window at work and looked at the sky. It was so beautiful, and God said, clear as day to me, you don't know love because you never received love. And I was just like,
Mm,
wow. And it felt so good to me because I was always trying to love somebody, accept somebody, do this and do that, almost like I was trying so hard to get love. And God let me know you never really received it from other people. So that's why you don't know it. But I'm here to give you the love that you desire. So
mm.
it's amazing. It's a wonderful feeling.
I
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
yeah, I like that. I like that. Um, Sharon, I know in since
And
this
I
your
would like to,
diagnosis,
okay.
go
I
ahead.
was going to add
Go ahead.
also that people first language, it aims to avoid those perceived and subconscious dehumanization,
Hmm.
when discussing people diagnosed with HIV.
Hmm.
Thank you.
And I also,
I,
before we go on, D, I'm sorry, I wanted to add
well,
to
that's okay.
I hear people meaning our brothers and sisters in this fight. I hear them say, people don't walk around and say, I'm cancer, I'm diabetes. So to walk around and say,
Exactly.
I'm HIV, no, you're not. You're a person, you're a woman, you're a man, you're a brother, you're a sister, a mother, a daughter.
Mhm.
You are
Exactly.
not you are not the disease. You are not the virus. You are not. You
Exactly.
are beautiful. You are awesome. You are amazing. And say that I am an amazing queen, woman, mother,
Mhm.
daughter, grandmother who is living with HIV. So we just have to help people. The language is there, and it shocked
Yeah.
me.
Mhm.
I'm glad you put that in there, Sharon, because
Yeah,
I
yeah.
wrote my book.
I thought
Yeah,
that was nice that she put that in
it
there.
was awesome. I
Thank
wrote my
you.
You
book
are.
before language. So before language came, my book was written. So I'm just like, oh, this is on time. So I love that. I love that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that was
Thank
excellent. You put
you.
that in.
Hmm.
You are absolutely right though, because um, it takes
And
a
thank
it
y'all for
takes
speaking on it.
yeah, it
Hmm.
takes a while for people to
Mhm.
change the language.
Right.
Um,
Hmm.
I have a friend that always says it's how you feel about yourself.
Hmm.
Mhm.
So if someone says, well, you're infected, it shouldn't make you angry because it's how you feel about yourself. So if
Right.
you know and feel that you are not infected and only diagnosed with a virus, then that word shouldn't bother you. Because through life, there are always going to be people that will still use this language that we feel needs to be changed.
Right.
So, in order to go through life, you have to be confident in yourself
Yeah.
and know
Mhm.
that these words that people are using, they don't know.
They
So it's
don't.
how you feel about yourself. I thought I just go ahead and mention that because some people get angry when
They
people
do.
use
Yeah.
the wrong language, but some people don't know.
Eh,
You can try to
mhm.
tell them, well, it's this or that, but it's still not going to matter. So
Right.
I just thought I'd mention that it's how you feel about yourself. So no
And it's,
matter if someone says that you're diseased or infected or sick, you know those things aren't true about yourself.
yeah.
So
And,
you just
and
take
it's up to us
a
to
very
educate.
thoughtful step.
Because I've had people say to me, "Well, when you were infected with HIV, how did you feel?" And I will respond and say, "Well, when I was diagnosed with HIV, I felt like I died."
You don't
And
say, I wasn't infected. You don't use that word. You just go ahead and keep on with the conversation. Exactly.
yes, yes.
Exactly. Um, Here you say, Sharon, since my diagnosis, I have hungrily embraced and indulged in advocacy. I have experienced and witnessed too much injustice to do nothing. My
Hmm.
passion for advocacy is too strong for me to not make time in my life and space in my home for it. My bedroom closet does not store clothes and shoes, it stores education.
Awesome. I love
Yes.
that.
And I will show it to you if you really want to see it.
Yeah, I like
Yeah,
that.
and I grew up in poverty, you know, and I had to fight for a lot. I had to work very hard for very little, and I had to fight for even the very little that I had.
Mhm.
And when I did come across resources that was very important for me, I started advocating with those agencies that provided those services. We would visit the New York State Assembly and we would get a lot of what we asked for.
Mhm.
And for me, that was like, putting money in the bank.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. Especially being a child too, you know? Yeah, especially being a child.
Yeah.
Ladies, let's talk about your organizations. And again, what what made you want to start an organization, a nonprofit? And what has that nonprofit done within your community? And where can people find that if you have a website for it?
Mhm.
You can go ahead, Sharon.
Yes, Sharon.
Okay. Okay. Well, I started I Know Awareness um, when I moved here to Georgia. And I started by hosting educational events. And then I started partnering with organizations because I was needing educational materials, and currently my projects just vary. I've been I've been very fortunate to be a part of many different projects. One that I'm really looking forward to being revealed is a movie that I was a part of last year. There'll be some private screenings soon. I had an acting role, and I also gave some. Um, I gave I advised uh, I advised the cast on some people first language and some medical terminologies. But for the most part, um, I'm doing street outreach. I'm hosting watch parties.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I've seen a
Yeah,
few of those over the last year or
mhm,
two.
yeah, a lot
Like
of
at
speaking
coffee
engagements.
shops and places like that.
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry, I didn't hear you. Mhm.
I said I over the course of a couple of years or a year or so, I've seen that where you're speaking at like different little coffee shops or different places trying to educate. So yeah, I always say it doesn't matter where you speak as long as people are there to hear.
that's
It
it.
could be one
Yeah,
person. It wouldn't matter to me. That one person getting ready to learn.
yeah, I've been very fortunate to be invited to speak at many different environments. Um, there's two that's coming up that's like really near and dear to my heart. Minister Kendall Richardson of the Grapevine Foundation, he hosts the
Yeah,
annual HIV/AIDS youth walk, and this year he'll be shooting a music video, HIV awareness music video, and
nice.
yeah, yes. So I'm excited about that project, and there's a lot brewing right now. The best way to keep up to date on the activities of I Know Awareness is by being a member of I Know Awareness Facebook group to
Yeah,
really get to see, like, what type of frontline work is available, frontline and boardroom, because I also spend a lot of time with different committees here in Atlanta.
okay. All right. And what about you, Alicia?
Well, so I Will Live actually started with my positive post. I would put encouraging posts up there just on my regular Facebook, and people would say, Alicia, you need to do a blog. And I'm just like, wow, God put that in my head a long time ago. Wow. So it was confirmation. I didn't know the name. So one day I was in church, praise and worship, and God said to me, you will live and you will not die. You will
Mm,
live. So no, I will live. And I was like, I will live. That's what it is. So I created a blog and it started that way. And then somebody said, you need to do a nonprofit. And I was like, oh, I don't understand that part of life. And no, I'm not doing that.
yeah.
And so, God said, I will live will be a foundation. And I don't know what's going to come of it. But
Yeah.
so somebody
Baby
helped.
steps.
Right. Somebody helped me create the page and they moderated it until I learned how to. And then I just did. And I didn't want it to just be about HIV. I wanted people to understand that you will live through anything. You will live through sadness. You will live through depression. You will live through rejection. You will live through any type of diagnosis. You will live. But the only way that you will is you have to believe that. You have to know that you have to envelop yourself around people who are encouraging and empowering you. So I was just like, I'm an encourager, I'm an empowerer. I feel like I can, help somebody with my positive words and outlook. So I'm going to use that platform to do that in
Yeah.
hopes that people will go to the page and see information, because I share mainly stuff about HIV education, but I do share other things. But I've had people inbox through there, like, you know, they needed to talk, they needed help, they newly diagnosed, they have cancer, they have this, their child this. And I'm just like, wow. So it just became this huge thing just on social media. So I just feel like it's a platform
Nice.
for people to understand it, that it's okay and somebody's there for you. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you still blog?
You know what? I haven't blogged since my brother got really sick, and I went back, and my blogs make me cry. They're phenomenal to me. But I haven't. It's at least 4 years. It's time for me to do it again. Yeah, and I'm going to. It just like life just happens, but I'm definitely gonna start back blogging again. Yeah.
Okay. Sharon, tell everybody where they can find you again
Mhm.
and where they can find your book. Alicia, you could do the same.
Okay.
And then we're gonna cut the show. And I don't know if there's anything else that you guys would like to talk about with your book, but let people know where they can get it from. And people watch this later. It
Right.
gets rewatched.
Right.
It gets watched.
Yes. Well, I'm easily found on Facebook, Sharon Jones, Shynronn, and you can easily find me in my public Facebook group, I Know Awareness, which is one word, LLC. And the book is available on Amazon, Kindle, and you can request an autographed copy on my website, I Know Awareness, one word again.com.
Thank you. Okay, Alicia, your
And
time.
also, you can find my book, Standing on My Healing from Tainted to Chosen, at Amazon.com. There's also a Kindle version. And you can look me up on Facebook under Alicia Lovely Diggs. It is Luvlee. So not Lovely. It's Love, Luv, Lee, one word, Diggs. So you can look me up there. You can find I Will Live on Facebook under I Will Live. I did want to, I noticed something in Sharon's book that I wanted to share. It's just a quick
Sure.
paragraph that I really love from chapter 6, Take Care. I thank God for
Mm,
preserving my physical health, physical appearance, and mental health. I have always acknowledged God as my creator and caregiver. Having God's abundant and unconditional love remedies all things. Have a positive attitude. I had a positive attitude at the time of my diagnosis, and I held on to that positive attitude throughout the years. My family, friends, fellow advocates, healthcare providers, and reggae music, hey, has also helped me
okay.
to being able to talk to my loved ones about HIV relieves me. And one more thing, I'm just like, this is awesome. She
Yeah.
says, I pay close attention to how my mind, body, and soul feels. When I
That
feel
part.
fatigued, I take vitamin C supplement. When I feel depressed or stressed, I talk to my behavioral health specialist. When haters occupy my personal and mental space, I identify, analyze, and purge toxic people. 5, places and things. When low self esteem sets in, I exfoliate. Y'all, I don't really cuss, but yes, I do. I exfoliate, shit, save, shave, shower, moisturize, get my hair and nails done, and put on a nice outfit and jewelry. It's more, but man, y'all got to get the book to check that out. That's
Yeah.
love
It's
right there.
really
That's
good.
Thank
that's
you.
I mean,
medicine right there. You have got to find. I always tell people you got to find a light in a dark place, because you put a
mm,
little bit of light in somewhere dark, it's going to brighten up. And you have got to find whatever your zen is, and I just love that. It's so
yeah.
important.
It's it's
Thank
a
you so
easy
much.
the book is
Mhm.
an easy read, although it took me forever to open it because I'm always so busy. But
Right.
I could have read. It's a very easy read. There's
Yes.
25 actual pages,
Right.
but 30 pages altogether. Um, she explains very well in detail her life,
Right.
but in short detail, so you can get to know who she is, what
Mhm.
she went through, and where she's at now. So
Mhm.
this is really good, Sharon. It was really good.
Thank
It
you.
took me a minute, but I read it. And it's just like
And
you
I
said,
would like
chapter
to.
6. I like chapter 6. I like the whole page of chapter 6.
Okay. And I always try to ask people too, like what chapter they like the most.
Yeah.
So for me, it was the first chapter. And I get a little teary eye every time I read it. I do love reading that chapter to people who I want to know more about me. And just, speaking on my parents and the people who I grew up around. It felt so good to just speak about them. And Alicia did share with me a little bit earlier how she I don't know, but
I can say it. I know what you're talking about.
okay.
What
Yeah.
you had. So when I started reading her book, I haven't finished, and every time I start, I wait until I'm in the bed, which is a no because I go to sleep.
Yeah,
But
everybody falls asleep when they read in the
right.
bed. You know
So
better.
when I first started reading it, she was talking about her life in New York and then talking about her father being the leader of the Tomahawks, which is a gang in the 70s. So when I was in my early teens, maybe 13, 14, my mom asked me to stay in the house and watch this movie with her called The Education of Sonny Carson. And I ain't want to. I was like, man, I'm going outside, but I watched it with my mom. It's my favorite movie. So the movie is about the life of the New York people in the 70s who were in gangs, the gang life. Well, the gangs were the Tomahawks and the Lords. The
Wow.
Okay.
Tomahawks and the Lords were rival gangs. Sonny Carson was the leader of the Lords, and her father, Chiron's father, was the leader of the Tomahawks.
Mhm.
That movie is
Wow.
insane, and it's a true story.
Mhm.
What is
So,
it called?
the
Yeah.
education of Sonny Carson.
Yes, thank
Huh.
you.
Yes. I was like, oh, I know a
Yeah.
celebrity.
So
And
is
that's
it
just yeah.
SUNY?
it's Sonny.
Okay.
The education of Sonny Carson. And he's
I'm
still
gonna
living.
watch that. Can you pull that up on Netflix or something?
I'm
Uh,
you and I'm a
well, I
check.
know. Yeah, I know bits and pieces is on YouTube.
Okay. I'm gonna look it up. That's
Yeah, I,
interesting. I'm gonna
Yeah.
look that up.
yeah, it's
I like
on
Yeah.
biography.
Netflix,
I,
but
I love any kind of biographies
yeah.
that's happened with anything or anybody years ago. I like watching those. I'm gonna watch that.
Yeah. And they
The-
were so young,
Right.
and those that's in the movie are actual members of the gangs.
Right.
So, when I watched, the bits and
Okay.
pieces that I've
A lot
seen,
of them are
and
still alive.
Mm-hmm.
yes, yes, and my dad is still alive. He was recently released from federal prison. Um, I talk about it a little in the book.
Okay. Yeah, I seen how you talked about your father being in the gang.
Yeah.
I'm gonna I'm gonna pull that up.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pull that up.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Alicia, go ahead and
Mhm.
you can go ahead and let everybody know where they can get your book and find your organization if you want to put
Yes.
that out there.
So I Will Live is on Facebook. You just type in I Will Live and there'll be a picture of myself and the background is purple, my favorite color, and the script Isaiah 53 and 5. And I'm also on Amazon, Amazon.com. I am what am I? I'm sorry, standing on my healing from tainted to chosen. So you could definitely find me there or look me up on social media. Mhm.
Okay. Thank you, ladies.
You're welcome. Thank you for having us. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much for
Please,
having
guys,
me.
get these books.
Yeah.
Yes.
I tried really hard to get books that people are writing in regards to HIV. And then sometimes I forget, and then when I see them put up, I'll buy them. I don't have very many yet, but I wanted to start a collection.
Yeah.
So do that, you guys, because both of them explain so much about their life journey.
Mhm.
So it's not just about the diagnosis; it's
Right.
about the individual and where they came from.
Right. Right.
I always say we all have a journey.
Mm.
Every single one of us have a journey, and we
That's it.
don't know where everybody comes from until
Right.
they let us
We
know.
don't. And
Yeah,
I wanted to share
yeah. Put that up. Put that up again, Sharon, please.
right. I was trying, let me see. Look. Yeah.
Thank you, ladies. So those are what the covers look like, you guys. If you want to purchase. And any last words that you guys have to say? Any last words?
Go ahead, Sharon.
Mhm. Well, I do hope that you get my book and use it as a tool. You don't have to feel alone when you go out there to educate people. Have my book with you and use it.
Mhm.
Thank you.
And
Thank you,
and
Sharon.
I wanted to share that there are some tools in my book as well, not as extensive as Sharon. I love how definitely get her book, y'all, and learn some things because it's more up to date for current times. But when I wrote the cover of my book is actually the book I wrote my book in. So this cover right here is a
Oh,
scrapbook.
really?
So I wrote my book by hand. And then I had
Mhm.
God told me to write it by hand, and I wrote it by hand and by water. That's the only place I could write my book. And God explained to me that the reason I had to write it by hand in a scrapbook and by water was to get my healing and my cleansing. So as I wrote my book, he was peeling off those old layers that were holding me back from being who I am now. So this cover is
Mhm.
special because I have pictures. I've got photography
Oh,
pictures,
wow. Thank you for sharing
and
that.
it's like, no, you used the book that you wrote in. So the photographer took a picture of this and made it, so it could
Mhm.
be created for the cover. This book is special to me because it is my life. There's one chapter that talks about my life as a woman living with HIV. The rest of it is who I am, so you get to know me. While it's not
Wow.
important as to who you contracted the virus from or how you got it, the important thing is, who is this person? How did they get through this? And what can I do to be as wonderful as they are? Because we, all three of us, are phenomenally awesome women. We have persevered. And, I really just want to leave with people to just please know that you are not by yourself. Any type of negative diagnosis, any type of negative treatment or traumatic situations can make you feel isolated. Don't feel isolated. Know that there's somebody out there who is going through what you went through, have went through, and is there to support you anytime you need it. So just know you're not alone. Love yourself.
That's wonderful.
Can you guys hear me at
Yes.
all?
We hear you
But
now.
you can't
Mhm.
see me. We've been having technical difficulties since the beginning, but nobody didn't know it.
Right.
So you didn't see me. So I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna let you guys close my show, and I'm gonna disappear. Okay.
Oh,
You guys have a great day. I love you guys. Thank you for being on. I really appreciate it.
thank
And
you.
if you want to go ahead and have a few last words, you can before we close the show. But everybody, remember this is positivity deep discussion. You have to remember that HIV still exists. You have to get tested. If you have contracted HIV, you can get on medication and live a better, healthier life. I say to everybody, remember this: we are unlimited when we put effort into it.
Yeah.
Unlimited. unlimited.
Unlimited.
So go ahead, ladies. Happy day.
Educate with care, not fear.
Say it again, Sharon.
Educate about HIV with care, not fear.
That's awesome. And know that the next person that you're looking at is somebody who has feelings, and you never know how they feel. And you may be that next person that's going to give them the strength to go another day. So don't judge, don't point the finger, but instead love and hug on people. It's very important to their healthy being. All right.
Amen.
All
Here I am.
right.
Thanks, ladies.
You're welcome. Mwah.
I appreciate you.
We
You
appreciate
guys
you.
have a good day.
You
Thank
too.
you. Appreciate.
All right.
Okay, everybody. I have to put these little plugs in for everybody. I have to do this every week. So remember, if you are looking to get tested, it's important to get tested, you guys. You can go to hiv.gov or you can go to the CDC website. You can type in your city, your state, your zip code, or your zip code, and it'll bring up where you can get tested. If anybody wants to know a little more about UequalsU, undetectable, untransmittable, what that means is people diagnosed with HIV are not transmitted HIV. You can find a little bit more information there at preventionaccess.org, preventionaccess.org. As long as we stay on our medication 6 months or longer, we become virally suppressed, which means undetectable, untransmittable. We cannot transmit. We are no longer transmitting HIV. Any women looking for an organization, it's a policy organization for women and their allies. You do not have to be diagnosed with HIV to be a part of PWN USA. You can type this in Google, pwn-usa.org, pwn-usa.org, and go to contacts, and someone will contact you. If you are looking for the criminalization laws in your state, you can go to HIV Law and Policy, hivlawandpolicy.org. Click to the left where it says Find Laws in Your State, and it will come up and let you know what those HIV criminalization laws are in your state. If you are looking for insurance for those with chronic health conditions, you can go to Legends Insurance Services. Contact Precious Jackson at 323-230-3189. Precious Jackson at 323-230-3189. Again, everybody, get those books. Sharon's is a short read, and Alicia's is a little longer, but it's both about their lives. It's about their lives, about their journeys. It's not just about the HIV. Alicia's book is Standing on My Healing from Tainted to Chosen, and Sharon's book is A Piece of Me with HIV. So look those up and get those books. Also, I want to share a book that I bought a while back. I don't even think it's been a year yet. For those of you that have teenagers, this book here, HIV Around Me, it's written by Renee Burgess. It's a simple read for your teenagers. I think this book is very important for people to get. It's to the point. It will help your teenager understand HIV, and it's a really good book for your child. And if you ask me, I think this book is not just for a teenager. I think a 9-10-year-old can read this also. So please get this book. This is very important for you to get this. I was glad I got it for my daughter. She liked it a lot. And then there's another book called The Man, the Woman, and the Genesis that I have not completed yet, but it is really good. I'm just reading a little bit at a time. It's called The Man, the Woman, and the Genesis, Making Your Relationship Work. And this book is in regards to HIV. I'm sorry, in regards to the Bible, letting individuals know how relationships can last. And it talks about the man and how he thinks. And it also talks about the woman. But mostly it gives you more perspective of the Bible and the man. For a lot of ladies, this is a good read. Um, it's written by Stephen O'Tyler, Stephen O'Tyler, and you can find both of these books on Amazon. You can find both of these books on Amazon. Um, Again, thank you, everybody. I love you. Thank you for tuning in. Everybody have a happy day. Bye bye. I'm going to play a little bit of Aretha Franklin for you before we get out of here. And again, I do not own the rights to these songs and don't claim to. Don't claim to own the rights to these songs. Just playing them for entertainment purposes. We pray Facebook don't cut me off of this. But I let it be known.
I'm just a lady to say, oh, you got me where you want me. I ain't nothing but some food. You treat me, oh, you treat me cool. Take a fool. Everything has got a weak link. I might be weak time, but I understand. Oh, you told me, my mama said, come on. My doctor said, take it easy. Oh, but your loving is much too strong. I'm at it too. Change, 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 a fool.
Oh, music brings so much joy, don't it? Oh, brings so much joy.
I'm gonna take all I can take. Oh,
Change, change, change. Happy day, everybody. Everybody have a great day. Oh, and I always forget. I don't know why I forget, but if anybody is looking for any natural, organic health products, contact me. Um, this one gives you energy. It's called NRG, Natural Raw Supplement. And this one is called NutriBurst. It's a liquid vitamin that absorbs a 98% of cell absorption. It's given me, these things have given me so much energy. I've been taking them now for, oh my goodness, maybe 8, 9 months. And I feel awesome. So if you guys are looking to feel better about your health, they even have some tea, some detox tea that will help you shed a little bit of those pounds off. And get a hold of me in my inbox, or you can And I'll give you the information to go to the website. Everybody have a happy day. I love you. Thank you for support and thank you for tuning in as always.